Reekin Havoc.
Reekin Havoc.
News, interviews, and more.
We just reek of Huntsville Havoc hockey.
The Reekin Havoc podcast returns this week. I'm Tim Lambert. We've got a tag team episode with former Havoc defensemen Pete Sikalis and Alec Brandrup, members of the 2018-2019 repeat championship team. We'll bring you another of Huntsville's greatest hits and some reminders of upcoming events as the Reekin Havoc podcast continues.
The Reekin Havoc podcast.
One of the worst feelings you can have is that of being stranded. Well, BT's Towing, Tire, and Truck Repair makes that a thing of the past, with 24/7 towing services and roadside assistance in the northern Alabama and southern Tennessee areas. But that's not all. They also offer truck and trailer repair, mobile welding, brake service and repair, new and used tires, and other major and minor repairs. Their name says it all, BT's Towing, Tire, and Truck Repair. For 24/7 response, call 497-8234. That's 497-8234. BT's Towing, Tire, and Truck Repair. Got something to say? Put it on a t-shirt, or hoodie, or apron, or even an iPhone case. Just go to daddyoscustomtees.com and make it happen. Look through their selection of ready-made designs, or make one of your own. Check out their special hockey designs, too. With Daddy O's Custom Tees, you can truly have it your way. Look for Daddy O's Custom Tees on Facebook, follow them on Twitter or Instagram, or go online to daddyoscustomtees.com. That's DADDYOS Custom TEES.com. Daddy O's Custom Tees. They've got your back or front.
Let's go in the slot.
Welcome to our In the Slot segment. I caught up with former defensemen and members of the last Havoc championship team, Pete Sikalis and Alec Brandrup. Hey guys, I'm glad I could get you both on today.
Peter?
Hey, Alec.
Oh, so good to hear your voice.
Oh, so great to hear from you.
Well, now, how long has it been since you guys have talked to each other?
Oh, I saw Alec at Ty's wedding last summer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Ty's wedding.
Well, now, I'm depending on you guys to, give us some stories that hopefully are, family friendly. This is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, is getting some older, former players on together, because I thought, because sometimes I'll ask for stories and, people will be like, I can't think of anything. So I thought, well, maybe if I get more than one on, they'll kind of spur each other. But as far as what you're doing right now, I think I covered that before. But Pete, are you still a software developer?
Yep. Yeah, I'm still doing the same job I was when I last interviewed with you.
Okay. What can you tell us what you might be working on now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I just work on websites for used car dealerships. It's nothing really special or exciting.
Oh, okay. You're not going to leak any secrets then.
Yeah.
And then Alec, you still a hockey trainer?
No. I've been working for my family business in my hometown, Superior Screeners. We do screen printing and embroidery. Okay.
All right. I went to your LinkedIn page, and so that's kind of where I got that information.
Yeah, we got to get that updated.
Yeah. Now, Alec, you mentioned Tyler. You played with him at Norwich.
Yes, sir.
In college. Did you think he would get the impression that he might end up being a coach?
Yes. Ty is I think we all know Ty is a very special individual. I mean, and he loves hockey. Even at school, he had talked about and that's kind of like a turning point in life, you graduate and it's like, what are you going to do? And he's always told me, or he did tell me, when we were at school, he's like, at some point I'm going to end up coaching, whether it's, back in Weymouth in his hometown or in some form. So I'm definitely not surprised. I mean, he loves the game so much. He wants and needs to be around it.
Well, Kyle Sharkey, he's an assistant coach now too. What about him?
Yeah, I think those two, in my mind, are definitely cut from the same cloth. They love the game so much they need to be around it. I know I've talked to Ty about it when they go and play Fayetteville, I believe is where Sharkey's coaching, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll tell me, he's like, yeah, I just got done talking to Sharkey. So, I mean, both of those two, it doesn't surprise me. They love the game so much, and, I mean, good for them, too. It's really awesome to see them, hang them up and still stay around the game.
Yeah. Did either one of you think you might want to coach?
I did some coaching for my old high school, my public high school back up here in Mass, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. But yeah, it's definitely, I give those guys credit. I mean, I was at a high school level, and the time commitment and, everything, it's a lot. And especially what, Ty's doing and Kyle's doing at the pro level. Like, I can only imagine the time they put in and the energy and all that. But yeah, like Alex said, they love the game. They love that stuff and live for it. So that's huge for them.
I did something similar. I've been kind of on and off coaching for a while. And when I first got back to town, I helped we've got 4 high schools in town and in my hometown, and I helped coach for one of them for 2 years. And then I haven't coached in a couple. Just work's been really busy, and just trying to focus on that for right now. I'd like to get back into it, but yeah, I think to piggyback off Pete, to see what those guys are doing at the pro level too. I mean, high school is a major time commitment, especially if like you got a girlfriend, wife, family, or whatever. But these guys are, I mean, that is the top tier as far as commitment goes. Like, you are in it from the start all the way to the end, and it's major. It does, like, when games get done, it doesn't just stop when the buzzer goes. Their coaches are still at the rink until, 11, 12, 1 a.m., especially the coaches at Huntsville, too. Like, when Glenn was still coaching, Stu, now Ty, they're there looking at video, getting prepped. So it is a huge commitment, and I praise both him, Ty, and Sharkey for them wanting to coach.
Folks fans might not think that that they do as much as they do, because Stu was telling me other stuff, not really coaching related, game related type stuff that, he wears a lot of hats, I guess I could say.
No, yeah, they do a great job getting the players prepared, and yeah, it's all the behind the scenes stuff, right? You go out on the ice and it's up to the players to actually, perform and do the work. But at the end of the day, it's the coaches that are getting them ready, giving them all, the material they need and all the scouting reports, all the video, and each week is tailored towards the games or the teams you're playing that weekend. So it's all prep work. And yeah, it's all kudos to the coaches for designing it all, getting it all prepped, all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think they like to take it a step further, though, is like when you have those like sometimes you'll play the same team twice, but if you get a 3-3 where you're playing 3 different teams, I mean, you play the first, and then it's like, now I got to you can't just watch that night's game. I've got to totally switch gears here. And it essentially starts from scratch. So, like, those nights, even when we come to the rink the next day, it's like, and we're watching video, it's because they were up and they were doing all the work that night before. So it is especially definitely easy for people to not understand it, but it's like when we are prepared, it's because the coaches are prepared.
Yeah. And, they've added a video coach now, so he can kind of chop up video and they can watch it, during the intermissions. Is it something that you guys were able to do, or you just had to wait until maybe the next day to watch video?
I think they had something like that. Maybe towards the second half of my career, I think we started getting the intermission clips, but that was just from whatever video feed was streaming there. So we didn't really, I don't think, use it too much during games. But yeah, kind of like Alec was saying, it was as a player, you're done the game, you get to go home, relax, not think about it. But as a coach, that's when your job starts, is when the game ends. You're immediately, cutting clips and getting ready for the next day. And like Alex said, 3 games, 3 different teams. It's a lot of prep work on the back end for sure.
Yeah. You both played D3 hockey. Did you ever cross paths playing each other in college?
Yeah, we played Norwich twice a year.
I forgot about that.
Well, Alec, you went to Peoria out of college, and then Pete, you were already in Huntsville. So, did you play at Peoria long enough to maybe meet up in the SPHL at the end of that season? Maybe.
No. My college was. It's a very good academic school, but they're also pretty strict on attendance. So when my season ended, I went to, it was Norfolk for 2 weeks, came back to school, and then went to Peoria for about, it was about a week to 10 days. And then my schooling was actually put in quote unquote jeopardy. They just asked for me to be back, and I didn't actually, I don't think I played any games because I had to go back to school. So Pete and I never actually met up when we were just graduating. Oh, Pete was already there.
Okay. I had gone to eliteprospects.com, and it had you listed as going to Peoria. So I thought, well, maybe toward the tail end, they saw each other again. So how did each of you make it to Huntsville?
So out of college, I wasn't actually even really planning on playing. I don't think. And then, I was applying to jobs and whatever. It just wasn't working out. And I think Jesse called me kind of randomly. I think one of my buddies might have reached out, or there was someone who knew somebody. And Jesse called me and said they needed a guy for training camp. So I came down, tried out in training camp, ended up signing a 3-game, PTO after that. And then after the 3 games was up, they ended up sticking around. I signed, and then, the rest is kind of history from there. Went on, had a good first season, and then came back for the next 3. So pretty simple. Yeah.
You had two good seasons there right off the bat.
Yeah, the first 2, back to back, and then I think the third one would have been even better, but COVID kind of ended us early there. So
Alec, you mentioned going to Peoria and then the deal with school. So how did you finally end up making it down here?
That was essentially Tyler. He had put in a good word for me, and then after that I was essentially invited and came down, and the rest is, and stuck too, so the rest is pretty much history, but most of it was up to Ty and, just putting in a good word for me.
We mentioned Pete had 2 good seasons in a row. Alec, your first season was a good one too, being there his second year. So what are some of the things that you guys can remember from, Pete, if you got something that maybe from that first championship, and then the second one, and then Alec too.
I remember, I remember the first year was a little different, I think. I don't think we were really expected to win necessarily. I felt like we were kind of even going into playoffs, I felt like we were already the underdog there. But then, Yeah, that one, we always talk about how we won in Peoria. So, like, you know, it's pretty far away from Huntsville. There are not too many fans, but, like, just being with the team and, you know, the ownership and the everybody, you know, that was close to the team that season. Like, it was just us, and it was very memorable, just kind of partying with just the team in Peoria, you know, at midnight on some random May day. And then, yeah, going into, you know, the second year in that championship, you know, I felt like we were kind of almost I knew we were going to win. I felt like that year, just like it felt way different. And then being at home too, in front of the VBC crowd, like that was incredible in itself. But then, yeah, we got to kind of party with all the fans and go out in Huntsville with everybody. And so that one was it was a different experience, but yeah, both of them were just unbelievable.
What about you, Alec?
Yeah, my first season, definitely like a learning experience too. You're coming out of college, and most of that season I got to play with Pete, which was, at least for me, was really nice, super helpful, and I thought we worked really well together. But yeah, I think we were kind of similar. Coming in that year, it's like coming off a championship year, you have all of this, like the buzz around the team and like the culture, everything about it, everything that Stu and Glenn were kind of preaching and what this team is going to be, was all about, you know, repeating, getting another championship. And I mean, that was huge for me. It's like, how do you not want to play for a team like this? And I thought we were like, I think we ended up being third in the league when it came down to at the end of the regular season, which is a really good spot for us, I thought. And yeah, like Pete said, I think the game in, so the final, the game in Birmingham, we win in OT, unbelievable feeling, and like exactly what Pete said, we win that game in OT when we go back to the VBC, and it's like we knew we were going to win that game. And I thought our team that year was just super well-rounded, forwards and D. It's just such a super cool team and atmosphere to be a part of.
Wasn't that now, Pete? You were in those back-to-back teams. Would you rather win it on the road or at home? I mean, I guess there's maybe pros and cons to both of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I'm lucky enough to have experienced both. And yeah, like I said, I don't know if they're, you know, I would choose one over the other necessarily, but yeah, they're just both kind of unique in their own sense. And yeah, even, I don't know, it was just, we had a good core group there too, which, you know, helped across the years, but I felt like both teams, we were so close knit both years, and that went a long way too. But yeah, it's a different experience, you know, partying with just the team and then partying with, you know, all the great fans of Huntsville.
Yeah. Now, Jesse Kellicky posted something on LinkedIn, I think yesterday or day before, about how hard it is to repeat as a champion. What are your thoughts? Because Pete, you were in both years, but then Alec, you were part of the repeat.
Yeah, I guess the hardest part is the expectation, right? Like, you won it the year before, and that's the expectation the next year. And I guess a lot of it just comes on, you know, like personally, you want to be the best, and, you know, once you win it, you want to win it again. And it just ends up amounting to a lot of pressure, I feel like. And then, you know, when things start not going your way, a little adversity comes, it kind of amplifies it more, just because, you know, the bar is set so high. But no, like we've been talking about, coaches always, you know, are there to, that's what the coaches do, right? They bring you back to level, settle you guys down, and, you know, yeah, the expectation's high, but it's one thing at a time. You know, you got to be in the moment and just kind of build your way there. It's not like, I I don't know. It's not like an over looming thing for the whole season. It's, the first step is you focus on the games at hand and then get into playoffs. And then once you're in playoffs, anything can happen. So it's kind of staying focused and sticking to the game plan that the coaches they draw it up for a reason. So, I would say it's probably just, the internal pressure of, we won it one year. That's the expectation for the next year.
Yeah. You mentioned the COVID year, too. You felt like that you guys could have won that year, too. So, that might have been a three-peat.
Yeah, that would have been nice to finish out that season. I know I had an unlucky bounce. I fractured my wrist in December, and I played, I think, 1 or 2 games after that. And then right after I came back for those games, it was COVID, and it ended the season completely. So just coming off the IR, and then the season's over.
It's like, really?
Yeah, terrible timing.
We'll be back with more of the Reekin Havoc podcast.
My name is Joel, and I came to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital in December of 1987 to be treated for osteosarcoma, which is bone cancer. We didn't know anything about St. Jude. We didn't know what they meant, or that, when we got here, what we would do, how it would be taken care of. And when we arrived, we found out that my family wasn't going to have to pay for any of my treatment, not for my medicine, not for travel, not for housing, not for food. St. Jude was going to cover all that. St. Jude supported me in every way, from, taking that financial burden off my parents to making sure that all of my family was included in this time. St. Jude literally means everything to me. I get to go home to my family tonight. I get to cook dinner for them. That's what you're giving. You are giving us everything by supporting St. Jude. So thank you so much.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
This is Matt Duran, and you're listening to the Reekin Havoc podcast.
Who was the guy that spent the most time in the penalty box while y'all were playing?
That's a good question. I don't know statistically. I'm sure it's out there.
I'd have to say probably, I feel like Scotty's up there.
I was going to say that too, actually. That was the first name that popped in my head.
Yeah.
Maybe Nolan? I could see Nolan being up there.
Yeah, Nolan too. Nolan had a lot of the ticky tack ones. What was the one there? I think he squirt the ref with a water bottle and then go game.
Here we go with the stories. That's a quick 10 minutes on the stat sheet. Oh man. So,
yeah, that was
okay. So how did that come about? I need to know what prompted.
We went to Birmingham, and we essentially, I guess, we laid an egg with a mixture of it. Just nothing seemed in that game to go our way. They were absolutely bouncing us out of the building, on top of maybe a couple bad bounces that led to pucks going in the back of our net. But so it ends up being if I had to guess 8-1, 9-1, and ref calls a penalty on us, and I think he skated by, and Nolan grabs the water bottle and just gives him a squirt. And ref doesn't see it, feels it on his back, turns around, skates back to the bench, asks who it was, and he stood up immediately, pointed at himself, and he's like, "It was me."
Okay, I was wondering if he squirted him in the back or square in the face.
Yeah,
he wasn't that blatant with it.
No, probably. I think we were all just so upset. He did everything short of taking the top off the water bottle and just absolutely dumping it on him. But yeah, it we got absolutely run out of the building, but that was one of the best things I've ever seen.
Okay. So who was the guy that kind of kept everybody, maybe the class clown?
Justin Fox. Yeah, I can definitely attest. He was definitely a locker room guy for sure. I know I still get snaps from him in our little group chat that we still have going. He definitely keeps it lively for us, and yeah, just a great guy off the ice, great chemistry guy, and just always bringing the guys together and looking for a good laugh. And yeah, we had a lot of laughs that season with him for sure.
Who was the guy that maybe you could count on to be late?
Batesy. Sean Bates was always it was like the seconds, like we had to be somewhere at 8:45 and he was there at 8:44 and 30 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah, that one. I tell you what, on the ice, he's an incredible hockey player. Off the ice, he is not in any hurry to go anywhere.
Okay. Any other guys maybe you could roast about anything?
I mean, the years are so different. Like, I never actually got to meet Justin Fox. He retired the first on the championship team in Peoria. I've only met him just a couple times in like reunion stuff, but yeah, even there, the guy is absolutely hilarious. Other guys, I mean, our team kind of changed quite a bit from the repeat year to our second year, which was the COVID year. Connor Schmidt, I mean, he's up there with Foxy. I mean, you never know what that guy's going to do, and he's just absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, Schmitty was one of those, pretty much everything he said made you laugh.
Yeah.
Let's see, you mentioned Nolan. Was he kind of the enforcer of the team or teams?
I know, like, fighting was never, like, the main part. I know some teams had guys that were, like, strictly there to fight, and, a lot of the other skills around the game weren't necessarily there. But I feel like in Huntsville, we weren't so much focused on that. But, yeah, like, Scotty Trask, Nolan, even, like, Chance Braid came in, Baxter Cantor. Those guys were all, extremely tough, and yeah, they definitely protected our guys for sure. But yeah, I don't know if you're talking, enforcer from some of these other teams. I don't think we necessarily had that. Like, a lot of our guys were more skilled and played the game hard and right sort of deal. That's what we were more focused on in Huntsville.
Yeah. I hear these, go to the games and I hear these kids say, they're wanting to fight, fight. and I'm thinking, guys, we need points here. We don't need not penalty minutes. But they like to see the fighting.
No, yeah, it's exciting for sure. I only have a couple fights in my belt, but yeah, no, that's an adrenaline rush, and I definitely see why it gets the crowd going. I know when the other guys used to drop the gloves, it instantly sparks the team up. So yeah, it's definitely an exciting part of the game for sure.
As far as theme nights, I probably went over this with you too. And, the Melissa George night is always like at the top of the list. Seems like whenever I ask about players' favorite theme nights, but were there any other ones that you enjoyed for one reason?
Oh yeah. Obviously the Melissa George one is incredible. That one was very eye-opening, and I know for a lot of players, like, I had never even really been or heard of a NICU before, so going through that whole experience was definitely amazing. And yeah, the military night, that one's really cool. I remember one of my years we had, I don't know his name, but he's like a viral anthem singer, and he sings the anthem and then paints like a really cool picture upside down.
Oh yeah.
And then he flips it at the end. So that was really, really cool. I'll never forget that one. what else? There are so many. I feel like towards, the second half of my career, we were doing a theme night almost every weekend.
Yeah.
Some of them were crazier than others, but no, it was actually probably the most incredible thing is just seeing the support the fans give with the jersey auctions. And, when it's going for a really, meaningful charity and everything, the community really shows up and donates. And yeah, some of those jersey prices, I tell people how much they auction for and their jaw drops. They're amazed, but give them credit. It's all for the community. It's all for a good cause.
Yeah. Do you remember what the most one of your jerseys went for?
Oh, geez. I think it was probably a really special charity. But I don't think it probably went more than 1,000 or 2,000.
Well,
I've heard it. I think some guys probably almost went for, 5, I think at one point, or I don't know if I ever saw double digits. 10,000 maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember just some crazy numbers out there. Even as players, your jaw's on the floor, but yeah, it's awesome to see. It's all awesome.
Yeah.
I think at the most was maybe close to 1,000, somewhere around there.
Okay. Okay.
You see some of these other guys, and I mean, it's like that are popular with the team in Huntsville, like Ty, like Nolan, Side Nukovic, and to like back here again, like coming back to the like the championship the year before I got there, and it's like we do these jersey auctions, and the team was relatively close. I mean, relatively close to the same. I mean, I thought we had a lot of returners, but yeah, those guys' jerseys would always go for a ton. But yeah, I'd say it was more middle of the road for sure.
Okay. Stu's first year, they got all the way to the finals, and the start to the year was really kind of. I don't know. It looked iffy, fans were wondering, oh man, how good is this team going to be? Because it was kind of rough. But then they ended up making it all the way to the finals. And then last year, I mean, they had most of the same players. They get bumped from in the first round. So being a member of 2 championship teams there, especially, there in a row. Is there any kind of message that you might have for the current players?
No, yeah, just keep sticking with it. It's a grind. And like I said, it's, the first part of it's getting to playoffs. So, and it's a long season, right? You take that game by game. Like you just said, it's an iffy start, but you still go into playoffs there and with a good chance to keep moving forward. So you just never know what's going to happen there. But yeah, once you're in playoffs, it's a brand new season. Anything that happened before, it doesn't matter anymore. You got to look at it as a whole separate, entity there. And yeah, it's just, enjoy the moment for sure. I think a lot of stress about the games and, what you need to do during them kind of overshadows, the moment and opportunity that's, in front of them. It's a really cool experience to play, especially at a professional level. So just stay in the moment, enjoy it, take it, day by day, even shift by shift, whatever it is. And just, focus on your job. Do what you have to do to make the team successful, whether it's blocking a shot, getting a puck out, scoring the goal. It's all, in the end, it's a team game. And you got to show up every day for the team, and it's got to be team first always. At any point, you can't put the individual or any stress or anything. It's all for the team. So yeah, just keep focusing and keep grinding, and, don't worry about the stuff you can't control and only worry about what you can control.
Yeah.
That is hockey. Sometimes it's how it is. I followed Stu's first year and making it to the finals. Here again, Ty and I are pretty, so I kept keeping in touch with him, and It just sometimes it's just how it is. You start slow, you figure it out, you make it all the way to the finals, and sometimes maybe you have it at the start and then it fizzles out. That's one of the toughest things about hockey is to be consistent, which is unfortunate. Like this year to see, I mean, it sucks. I know I've been there to get bumped in the first round, and probably when you have a lot of momentum going and you're feeling pretty good about it. But yeah, I mean, Stu and Ty and Glenn, they'll do a good job of, refocusing the team and finding pieces that work, and it's just keep it going and keep putting your head down and going to work, and it'll pay off. The cream will always rise.
Yeah. I had a parent ask me, I don't know, about a month or so ago, said that her son was playing defense on his team. I don't know how young he is, but he was kind of discouraged because, he's on defense and doesn't get as much chance to score. So what advice would you have for young players like that?
Just again, keep working at it. And it's tough at a young age too. It's one of those things you just kind of, as you get older, you'll understand. But the other part about that is when you get opportunities, make sure you take them. In practice and in games, and you get that chance to be offensive, just go. It is tough. You're playing defense. You don't get a lot of opportunities to score. So the biggest thing for me is just being patient. And then also young players too. I think it kind of relies on the coaches to let them know what their actual responsibility is. And again, like I said, when you get the opportunity to be offensive, take it all the way. And then just keep practicing at it too. Outside of games and practice, the more you practice at it, the more you'll have opportunities in games. So it really it is one of those things about being patient, and then also just kind of learning with it as you go and as you grow. As you get older, you'll definitely understand, and kids at young ages will definitely get more opportunities for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, first and foremost, it's never about the points. Like I was just saying, putting the individual before the team is never a good thing to start with. So right there, I think just change the mentality around that initially. Yeah, it's not about the point. You can do so many more things to make his team successful than scoring points, especially as a defenseman. So I'd start there. And then even so, I never really had trouble, scoring points as a defenseman. It's about taking advantage of the opportunities that are given to you, right?
Yeah.
A lot of my points, honestly, probably came from a good breakout in the D zone. I made a good pass, and the guys went down on a rush and scored a goal. There's an assist right there. Getting a shot through that, isn't maybe necessarily on net, but with a head up, looking for guys' sticks. You get tip-ins, redirects, it hits off guys. I think my first goal actually in Huntsville, I just threw it, to the net from the boards at the blue line, and it hit off one of their players that went in the net. So, hockey is not, first and foremost, is not about the points. The points come when you do the work and, you make the right plays. But yeah, it's team success first and foremost, and always in hockey. And then, from there, I just say, focus on your own skills and stuff. There's points out there to get if you make the right plays and you do it consistently. But if you're worried about the points, you're not going to get them. Yeah. I would say anybody who's ever been in a rut in hockey, once they stop worrying about what's going to happen on the ice, things start working out. But when they worry, I'm not scoring, I'm not, doing this and that, then it just trickles down. So, I just say stick with it, if at the end of the day, if you want to score points, maybe you're a forward. Maybe, get in the dirty areas a little bit more, sure. But, end of the day, I would say focus on the team first.
Well, like you said, I mean, it's not like you can't score points playing defense.
Yeah. I mean, end of the day, the defenseman's not supposed to score, right? They're supposed to defend. But yeah, there's many very talented defensemen out there who, it's, at the end of the day, it's more about, who they are as a player and where they want to go.
Yeah.
They can train, they can get there for sure. There's no stopping them. But I think even if you ask the most talented, the highest scoring points defenseman, they're going to say not once during the season did they think about getting the most points. They were thinking about the team, what they needed to do to help the team win.
Yeah. If you keep the other team from scoring, that's kind of like scoring yourself.
Exactly. You could count block shots as points if you have to. You just got to kind of change the way you look at what a point is, especially in the position you're in.
Yeah.
Make it a game for yourself even. If you block a shot, you get a point, and see how many you get per game, per season, whatever it is.
Yeah. Any stories come to mind?
I mean, there's so many that it's hard. No, I'd say probably the biggest one, especially me and Alec, we after our first year there, we both had shoulder surgery after the season, so we got to hang around Huntsville for a few extra months, and then we were back for the next season early in September, and we had a lot of fun down there, especially with, a lot of the people close to Huntsville, close to the team. It was a really fun and memorable summer there, even though we had one arm. So
I think it was about a week apart too when we both were actually diagnosed, but we both tore our rotator cuff and labrum in, I think it was opposite shoulders. And we're both playing the end of the season. We got these big wraps on our shoulders, and at the end of the season, it was we both had surgery the same day. But yeah, we both had surgery on literally the exact same things, just opposite shoulders. And Pete and I were, we were living in the apartment complex in Madison, and it was just two bums in these shoulder braces, going to the pool every day. And it was sticking around. And yeah, that was an interesting deal for Pete and I. And we got really close for that. We were going to rehab together, but yeah, it's just us two in our shoulder braces, just hanging out for, a majority of the summer leading up into the next season. But yeah, that was we essentially did the whole surgery process together.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you guys talking to me.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Take it easy, Tim.
All right, we'll talk to you later.
Yeah, that sounds good, Tim. Be well.
Pete Sikalis and Alec Brandrup, former Havoc defenseman there in the slot. We'll be right back with more of the Reekin Havoc podcast.
The Reekin Havoc podcast.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Join us now for Huntsville's greatest hits, where current and former players recount their most memorable dropping of the gloves.
Former Havoc forward Mike DeGurse.
I think my favorite fight was when I was playing for Winston-Salem, and Huntsville had a guy by the name of Craig Cox on their team. And he was a wily veteran coming on the downswing of his career, and I was just 20 years old coming into the pro ranks. And being a Detroit Red Wings fan, Craig Cox, when he played in the NHL, used to have some amazing fights with Bob Probert in the Joe Louis Arena. So when I played against Coxie, I asked him if he wanted to have one, and he blew me off for the first half of the year, and then in the playoffs, he finally dropped the gloves and gave me a little lesson there. So that was a fun fight, and I was pretty excited to be able to trade some shots with a legend like Craig Cox.
We'll be back with the Reekin Havoc podcast.
In June of 2005, our twin girls were delivered, Melissa and Ann Catherine, and they were born 14 weeks early.
Amy and Chris George talk about the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund.
They both weighed less than 2 pounds. Ann Catherine was 115 and Melissa was 1'9". Melissa lived for a couple of hours, but all of the medical technology in the world just could not have saved her, and she passed away while she was in the NICU. Chris realized pretty early that God had given us a platform that we could use to try to help people. So Chris and I started the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund at Huntsville Hospital.
To know that Melissa's name is living on, her legacy continues, and I think that was very important to Amy and I, is why the fund is named after her. Because for 7 weeks, Melissa fought so that Aunt Catherine would have a chance to live. And I think that we wouldn't be doing her name any justice if we didn't carry on, because we know we wanted to honor her and honor her legacy. And the community, Huntsville Havoc, the community in Huntsville itself, they've rallied around that. And it's been a wonderful support system for us. And I think for a lot of families, too, when they see total strangers that are giving.
We're online at HuntsvilleHospitalFoundation.org. Click on the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund, and you can give that way.
There's no donations too small, and every dollar is just as important as the next one. And if you're giving, then we understand you're giving because you care. And that's what's important, is that we've learned over the years that people give because they care.
And you can volunteer. If you're interested in that, you can click on the volunteer tab to fill out an application. We are grateful for any type of support, because we know that once we pull those dollars together, we can do big things.
For more information on the Melissa George Neonatal Memorial Fund, visit HuntsvilleHospitalFoundation.org.
This is James Patterson, and you're listening to the Reekin Havoc podcast.
Season tickets for next year are now on sale. Full, half, or quarter season plans, as well as group tickets, are available. Go to the menu at HuntsvilleHavoc.com and click on the Tickets tab. The Huntsville Havoc On Ice Youth Summer Camp is back. Session 2 is July 21st through 24th. Kids can learn from head coach Stu Steffen and assistant coach Tyler Piacentini. Cost is $350 for skaters and $300 for goalies for the 4 days. For more information, go to HuntsvilleHavoc.com/youth-camp. The Havoc Free Agent Showcase for all junior, college, and aspiring pro players will be held this year at the St. Peter's Recplex in a partnership with the Missouri State Ice Bears, August 1st through 3rd. Coaches Stu Steffen and Tyler Piacentini will be in attendance and inviting one player to the Havoc training camp. For more information, you can email ssteffen@huntsvillehavoc.com. Summer hours for the front office and team store are 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., Monday through Thursday.
Join the Huntsville Havoc Booster Club and help support the team and staff and promote the sport of hockey in Huntsville. Go online to havocboosters.org for more information.
The Reekin Havoc Podcast.
For those returning from military service, the transition back to civilian life isn't always easy. Retired Marine Gunnery Sergeant Bill Cook talks about still serving veterans.
The mission of Still Serving Veterans is to serve and honor veterans and their families by empowering them to build meaningful lives. And we do that through connecting to fulfilling careers, getting the benefits they deserve, or the services that they need. We have never charged anybody anything for our services. A group of business leaders in town felt there was a need to help the seriously wounded make that transition back into civilian life. Employment services, VA benefits, and connections to other community services. That's what we do. If you're a veteran and you need help, please get a hold of us. Go to that website, ssv.org, and you can find out pretty much anything you need to know about still serving veterans.
In Huntsville, call 256-883-7035.
For tickets, official Huntsville Havoc merchandise, and more, go to HuntsvilleHavoc.com. Visit our website at ReekinHavoc.com. Look for us on Facebook, Instagram, X, and Threads. And listen, follow, and subscribe to the Reekin Havoc podcast on your favorite platform to keep up with the only weekly podcast covering the Huntsville Havoc, the Reekin Havoc podcast.